Titans! I've been sitting on this build for over a season now, and I gotta apologize for keeping it from you, but I have good reason. I had the build created, I had all the components, I had the footage recorded, and then Bungie announced that it was getting a buff. So rather than give you a build that would become less potent in less than a month, I waited, I stalled, I bided my time, but now I present to you the secretly super powerful build that I use for almost the entirety of Season of Plunder. In this build, you are both the unstoppable force and the immovable object. You will shatter any enemy that dares stand in your way. Champions are no match for you. Nightfalls are a breeze. Gambit becomes a child's playlist. And oh yeah, it's GM tested and approved. In this build, you will become the Bitter Behemoth. I still got it. Yes, I have a Stasis build for you. Now, as far as subclasses go, I'll admit that the Stasis Titan Behemoth is arguably the worst of the bunch, but this build propels it to the top of the food chain with a deadly exotic and mod combination. So let's talk about it. But before we do that, hey, if you like what you see, why not hit the subscribe button? Let's get into the build. So first, for our abilities, we have the Rally Barricade equipped. This allows for a faster cooldown on our barricade, and it allows us to shoot over the top of it. I have Strafe Lift, but you can use whatever jump you're comfortable with. The Shiver Strike melee is a staple for the Behemoth Titan, and for this build, we are going to be using Glacier Grenades. This gives us a giant stasis ice wall that freezes and slows nearby enemies, and we'll be sliding through this bad boy. With our first aspect, Cryoclasm. This gives us a boosted slide that allows us to slide farther and to shatter any stasis crystals or frozen enemies that we slide through. Now this was buffed for Season of the Seraph to give us an extra fragment slot, which takes this build that was already very powerful to the next level when we combine it with our second aspect, Tectonic Harvest. This allows us to create stasis shards whenever we shatter a stasis crystal, which will grant us extra melee energy. Now these two aspects synergize perfectly together and allows us to chain so many buffs together that we become the Bitter Behemoth. Let's talk about the fragments. We have Whisper of Refraction, where defeating slowed or frozen targets grants us ability energy. Whisper of Conduction, where nearby stasis shards track to our position. We don't even have to go looking for them. Whisper of Rhyme allows us to gain a stasis overshield whenever we collect a stasis shard. It lasts for 10 seconds and it refreshes whenever we pick up a new shard. Whisper of Chains makes it so that when we're near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, we take reduced damage from targets, which combines with our mods and our resilience stat. Now for the exotics in this build, of course you know what we're using. It's the Hoarfrost Z, baby. This turns our class ability barricade into a wall of stasis crystals that slows nearby targets and buffs our reload, stability, and range. You smell that? Smells like synergy. And at last, the exotic weapon that we're using for this build, say it with me, Salvation's Grip. That's right, don't click off the video, it's not a meme. We're actually using the grip in this build. I have been shown the light, the darkness, by using it in this build, and it is such a great weapon. Basically, you can shoot it to create stasis crystals on demand, and holding the trigger allows you to create even larger crystals. Trust me, this thing goes crazy. Let's talk about the mods. Our first mod is the Void mod Reaping Wellmaker. This gives you a Void Well whenever you use your class ability and then get a weapon kill, which in this build, we'll be using our class ability quite a bit. We have Well of Tenacity, also Void, which gives us a nice boost to our damage resistance whenever we pick up a Void Elemental Well. This synergizes perfectly with Reaping Wellmaker to allow us to have even more extra damage resistance constantly. Of course, we have Font of Might. We all love it. It's in just about every build we do, and for good reason. A flat 35% damage buff to your matching elemental weapons? Yes, please. Don't leave home without it. We have the Stasis mod, Elemental Shards. This turns our Stasis crystals into Elemental Wells, which feeds our ability regen and allows us to always have Font of Might active. And of course, Elemental Time Dilation. This is just a really nice to have mod that will extend the timer on all of our Elemental Well buffs such as Font of Might and Well of Tenacity. And now, with our mods, exotics, aspects, and fragments all combining into one, we're ready to become the Bitter Behemoth. Let's talk about the gameplay loop. So, hopefully you already see the synergy in this build. You charge headfirst into battle like the true Titan you are, and then boom! You toss an ice wall grenade at a group of enemies. While they're frozen in place, you rush over and slide through with cryoclasm, shattering all but the strongest of enemies and spawning countless stasis shards that will track straight to you and give you an overshield. But you're not done. You spot another group of enemies. You rush over. Maybe you fly in with your Shiver Strike melee. But no matter what you do, when you get there, you drop down a rally barricade that forms into another giant wall of crystals. And oh, did I mention you have Font of Might buffing all your stasis weapons? And when you get a weapon kill, you're gonna spawn a Void Elemental Well that allows you to activate Well of Tenacity, giving you even more damage resistance to complement your 100 resilience and stasis overshield. But you're still not done. If you haven't gotten either your grenade or your barricade back, which, depending on how many enemies you were able to take down, there's a good chance you did, you whip out your secret weapon, the Salvation's Grip. Now you can keep the temperature in the room at sub-zero, aka bitter cold, and keep freezing and sliding and sliding and freezing. Champs are no match for this. Stasis interrupts their mechanics as long as they're not shielded, so you don't even need champ mods for most activities, because all you gotta do is keep them frozen while you bully them into submission. In GMs, this build performs just as well. You can lock down an area to get a res, or keep a champ frozen while your team deals with ads, or you can just take everything out yourself if you're feeling really frosty. Now, as far as your stats and weapons go, I recommend 100 resilience and 100 discipline if you can get it. And as far as weapons, along with the Salvation's Grip, you can use any stasis kinetic weapon such as the Blood Feud, which you can craft with enhanced headstone. Or really any headstone weapon is perfectly fine, allowing you to create even more crystals to slide through and shatter enemies. Titans, you gotta try this build out, and let me know if you think I'm overhyping it. I promise you I'm not. It's gonna take a lot to get me to take this off of my Titan because it's just that good. So let me know what you think about this build in the comments below the like button. But that's it for me, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out, I love ya, bye-bye.